I gotta get your take because I've never fully heard it from you. We've had some conversation about this. Humanoid robotics.
Yeah.
Where do you see this industry going? Why are you so excited about it? And is Tesla ultimately the winner?
Yeah, this is everything to me. This is my thesis of all thesis. Like this is half my life revolves around humanoid robotics right now. Like this is I made the biggest investment I've ever made in my life in humanoid robotics this last year in 2 of the 3 humanoid companies that I think matter. There are 3. There's Figure AI. I'm an early investor in Figure. And I love Figure. Apptronic out of Austin. I'm an early investor in Apptronic, and I love Apptronic.
And you got me into Apptronic, which I'm very grateful for as well.
Yes,
Thank you for that.
yes, and Tesla, who I think is going to be a monstrously big winner in humanoids through their Optimus division. I'm invested in Tesla. I invested more recently, but I'm not nearly as invested as I want to be in Tesla, and I really hope the stock just stays down for a while longer. Um, Embodied AI, which is basically robots, um, is AI with a large barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you look at AI, all the conversations we're having right now about AI are very confusing, and nobody really understands who the winners are. No one really understands where the barriers to entry are. No one really understands where the pricing power is. We all have thoughts on this, and we discuss it and we argue over it, but no one really has a lot of conviction when it comes to AI of how to monetize it. Who is going to be able to monetize AI? Embodied robotics is totally different. You have an AI brain inside of all of these future robots, but these robots have, fine-tuned custom actuators. They have scalable hardware platforms, manufacturing, logistics, supply chains, distribution. You have servicing. You have, I mean, there is so much work that goes into embodied AI products, specifically humanoids. Yes, any smart person can build a humanoid in their garage right now. And there are people that are building their own human. I've spoken to brilliant, brilliant kids who are building humanoids in their garages right now and think they're going to have the next humanoid company. They don't understand how incredibly difficult it is to have a scalable platform with supply chain to be able to manufacture millions of these robots and maintain millions of these robots and service millions of these robots and actually be trusted by the world's largest enterprise companies, by manufacturers, by warehousing companies, by logistics companies. 1/3 of the world's GDP is physical human labor that is going to go away over the next 25 years and displaced by robotics.
Why is it going away? Why is it going away? How are you so confident about that?
It's just a natural evolution of humans. If you look at the last 500 years, it's gone away. And it's going to continue to go away. This is not a new thing, right? We don't work on farms like we used to, right? Like we're not blacksmiths like we used to. Like we all used to be physical laborers. All of us used to be physical laborers, like 95% of us. Now it's a lot less, and it's going to continue to get a lot less because as humans, we don't want to do back-breaking work unless it's something we really enjoy. So there will always be elements of physical labor that we'll continue to do, but we do not want to have people working in factories doing this. Okay, do you want to live your whole life doing the same thing repetitively over and over again in a factory for 40 or 50 years, and then you can't walk by the age of 60 and 65? You literally can't walk because your back has torn disc in it and you're so messed up physically. Do we want that for our kids or our children? Absolutely not. We want them to be able to live great lives. We want them to be able to have ambition and pursue careers and contribute to humanity in beautiful ways. We
Right.
want them to have jobs, right? But we don't want the work week to be 70 hours, right? We want the work week to go down and down and down so you could do better things with your time. That's how we've evolved as humans throughout
How
all
do
of
you reconcile the argument that that's a very privileged perspective? Because work is work, even if it's backbreaking work. At least there's money on the table, versus being a YouTuber, for example.
we want every human to be in a privileged place eventually, right? Like, I mean, yeah, of course it's privilege. I don't want to take away someone's job working at a factory. I want their kids to not have to work in a factory,
Right.
right? I want their kids to have a better job than that. Um, the truth is the majority of uh, use cases for humanoid robotics are not displacing human workers anytime soon. We have hundreds of millions of jobs that are needed where we don't have human workers because there's a lack of physical laborers in the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we have new industries that want to be created, but they can't because there aren't enough workers. The reason why these humanoid companies, I'm not going to give away too much right now, but I will tell you this. These humanoid companies, if you knew every company on earth is in line right now signing letters of intent to like get as much allocation as they can of these humanoids. I'm going to say that that's happening with every major humanoid company right now. And that's why you see guys out there like Brett at Figure AI, and Elon at Tesla, like have so much confidence when they say things like, "Oh, this is going to dwarf the auto business." Like Elon has said this. The problem is we don't listen to anything that Elon says because half the things he says are just ridiculous. So people don't know that this part is true. Like when Elon talks about this is real. This is actually real. Uh, I've been behind the scenes seeing all this for years at these humanoid companies, and I'm telling you, it is real. The only way that we as retail investors, well, not me, but generally the people watching the show today, can invest in this is to trade Tesla right now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it feels a little bit early, and that's why I haven't gone all in on Tesla yet. If anyone wants my humanoid thesis on Tesla's Optimus, it's the pinned tweet at Chris Camillo. It's like 15, it's a 15-part tweet thread that's still relevant. I wrote it in January, but it's still relevant today. I think Tesla is going to be one of the most exciting humanoid trades on Earth at some point in the next 24 months. I
So
just
so
have
so
to.
where do you like 10 trillion, this crazy age of abundance? Is this based on Elon having the vertical integration of the manufacturing needed to get these out at scale? Is that why Tesla wins?
Yeah, yeah. It's just Elon being one of the top 3 or 4 non-Chinese humanoid companies. There's Elon is probably in the best position as it relates to scalability of his platform because he's willing to go out and do the things necessary, make the investments necessary to fly the second that his humanoid is ready for prime time.
Mm.
I think the other humanoid companies are not going to be as aggressive as Elon is going to be when it comes to manufacturing and scale. Because Elon's a nutbag and he's willing to take on that risk when he sees something that he believes in. And that's why we love Elon, right? And so I think I'm not saying that Optimus is going to be a better humanoid than Aptronic or Figure's humanoid. I think all three of them will be very capable in terms of doing commercialized work. There's something like 900 million boxes that have to get moved from point A to point B every year. No humans want to do that work. It's dangerous work. It's backbreaking work. You don't even need an AI brain in a humanoid to do that
Yeah.
work, by the way. So there's like 10,000 other jobs, right, that are behind that that are just waiting. But every company on earth is wanting to expand right now, but they can't because of human labor. It's too expensive. They just simply can't get enough humans to do it.
And if you
So
agree that populations are not really growing the way they were before, that's a whole nother issue, right?
exactly, I've said this. I think Elon is playing everyone when he comes out and talks about population being the biggest issue because he knows he has the solution already. You know, he has the
Mm.
solution. He's planting the seed that population decline is going to lead to the downfall of civilization, which theoretically could be true if not for the fact that we have embodied AI and humanoids on the cusp of hitting scalability in the next like 3 years. So he's like, oh, I've been talking about this problem for 5 years. Oh, look what we have now. So that governments don't try to stop it in any way, like overly tax them or anything like that. So
I never
it,
thought about it from that perspective, because Elon does build up narratives, like the free speech narrative
yes,
he built up, and then he bought Twitter as the solution. Kind of the same thing here with robots.
exactly. And I listen. I think that one was a little bit more pure, but in terms of his intent,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
but but yeah. I'm very excited for Optimus. I want Tesla to be my biggest position in my portfolio at some point. It's not even close to being there. It's a small position right now. I want it to be my largest position. I'm very nervous about his auto division. I'm really nervous about it.
What, you're worried about FSD? What is the worry here?
I've always said FSD was like 15 years away when everyone was saying it was 1 or 2 years away. Not anymore. I'm going back like 10, 11 years, right? So yeah, FSD, yeah, we're getting closer now, but it's always further away than anyone realizes. And like, there's clearly been people who have been right on that, and people have been wrong on that. And Elon was just clearly wrong on his time frame for FSD.
Right.
So we're getting closer now, but it's not like 6 months from now. I don't think. I think we're like low single digit years away, but there's still a lot of regulatory stuff that has to happen. And at the end of the day, like FSD is really important, but it's not going to happen overnight. I don't think. It's going to happen city by city, state by state. It will happen over the next decade. It will be a really, really big deal eventually. Like eventually it will be monstrously huge. But that's one of those things that takes a lot of time because of safety concerns, even if they're irrational safety concerns, right? Like I agree, they're irrational safety concerns, but that's just the way the world works, right? So
And for
I don't.
Optimus, you think the use cases in the warehouses, not the people doing your laundry. You think the real use cases are for like Amazon, not for a personal
Oh,
chef.
no doubt. Yeah, the first 5 years of allocation is almost exclusively going to logistics, warehousing, and manufacturing. 100%. Yeah. So, and the reason for that is those industries place a very high value on those jobs. When you have a humanoid working 23 hours a day, you could charge $100,000 a year per humanoid, right? So like you could literally charge $100,000 a year per humanoid, and that will be the best, highest monetized use of a humanoid's time. So it's going to, and by the way, when you're a humanoid manufacturer, you need to focus on clients that are willing to purchase thousands to tens of thousands of humanoids from you on a lease program.
Right.
And there's only so many companies that can afford to do that at $100,000 a year. The amount of time it takes to basically onboard a humanoid program into a logistics, manufacturing, or warehousing facility, it's kind of like what Palantir does. You got to go in, you got to learn what the processes are. You have to have teams on site. This is why you have companies like Aptronic partnering with Mercedes, and you have Figure partnering with BMW, and there's like literally dozens and dozens and dozens of companies just like that we haven't heard about, that all these companies are that are in queue,
Yeah.
right? So it's because once they initiate that relationship, they want them to turn into 9-figure relationships pretty quick.
Right.
Okay. And they will, but they're going to hog all the allocation. And so, yeah, no, they're not going to give you a human. There will be like subpar. I think there will be other humanoid companies that will be like, yeah, we'll sell you a humanoid for your house, but I don't think Tesla or Aptronic or Figure is going to go down that road in the first 3 to 5 years. They just have too much demand for enterprise style companies that need manual labor
Right.
to do very simple things, by the way.
Yeah.
For the
I mean, if you
most
see the
part.
videos, some of this stuff is complex where they're like reasoning with taking out the trash. Other stuff is like putting this here, putting that there. It's like, of
That's where
course
all
that
the
can be
money is.
automated.
That's where all the money is. Like, it's so funny when we first started talking about this stuff. I talked to a guy that owned a bunch of yogurt shops, and they wanted to expand to 7 more yogurt shops, and they almost pulled the trigger, but they didn't pull the trigger because of the human labor issue. He was like, if I had a humanoid that can just literally just do this, like, and take it like if I had that and I knew that I could have that for X a reasonable cost, right? And not deal with all the issues of hiring and letting people don't show up for work, and then I'm like have to have managers over the stores when they don't show up for work. It's like I would open those 7 shops tomorrow. I mean, it's just one stupid small business story, but there's millions of business owners just like that feel the same exact way.
Right.
Labor is always the bottleneck. It's always the bottleneck. And by the way, it's usually not because the labor is too expensive. It's because you actually can't get the labor. You just can't get it. You just can't rely on it. There's just not enough of it out there that's willing to do that job or do it consistently for you.
Right. All right, folks. That is Chris Camillo. Chris, thank you so much for spending the time. I think the audience really enjoyed it. It spent
Of course.
a good hour and a half. It really means a lot. There's his Twitter there in the chat. Chris, actual last question for you. What is next? I mean, you've made a lot of money in your life. I know you're competitive, but like, do you buy Lambos? Do you just want to see the numbers go up on the Schwab account? What really is the end goal?
No, I don't buy anything. And by the way, anyone wants to find me outside my Twitter, it's dumbmoney.tv, has all of our socials for Dumb Money. But no, I have a foundation for kids and animal welfare, and that's my passion in life. So I started during the pandemic. It's something that I'm really proud of, and I'm hoping to grow that into a multi-$100 million, maybe $1 billion foundation someday. And I work with only like small to medium sized charities that are doing really interesting things for kids and animals. Um, and that's like I have 2 passions, 3. 1, my family. 2, that pretty much all my excess money that I make goes into that foundation to build that foundation up. And then 3 is I want to onboard every human on earth into the investor class as a way to solve the wealth gap. So
I like
like,
that.
yeah,
I
so
love that.
everybody spends so much time focused on the income gap. Good luck, especially where we're headed with the age of abundance. Income is going to get flattened. It's going to become really, 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 really hard to have a high income job in 20 years. Okay. And so the only way to solve the wealth gap is what we need to be focused on, because there's going to be the people that are getting the $85 trillion in wealth handed down from family, generational wealth, right? Those are the lucky people. Congratulations. They're lucky. Okay. I was never one of those people either. Okay. But they're lucky. So, how does the rest of the world figure out how to survive the next 20 or 30 years when the value of human labor is just going to be different? It's just going to
Yeah.
be different. Like we will have, I think we'll have access to healthcare. I think we'll have access to having a home and food. And like, I think the quality of life is going to go up and up and up and up over the next 20 years if AI doesn't destroy the world. I think it's going to go up and up and up. But how do you kind of even out that wealth gap? There's only one way to do it, and it's to be in the investor class. So I just want to try to inspire regular people like me just to start investing. Because listen, you look at my background. I was not an institutional investor. Even my hedge fund was a retail trader starting a hedge fund. So anybody can be an observational investor. You don't need to be proficient at mathematics or technicals or charts or fundamentals. You don't know how to, you don't have to know how to read a balance sheet or an income statement. All you have to do is be able to surf social media, read comments on TikTok videos, understand how the world is changing, and connect dots back to investable opportunities of companies that would either benefit or be harmed by that change that you're seeing unfold in real time, because you're knee deep in the real world, unlike these guys in Wall Street that are distracted by noise and CNBC all day. So like, that's it. I just want to inspire people to open up a trading account and just start doing it.
And the way you do that, I'm assuming, is just building your brand and making more content, I would imagine.
That's it, man. Yeah, and I do it in a way that's fun, man. You know, me, Dave, and Jordan, we're best friends. We just when we do our show, we're really doing the show mostly so we can catch up with each other and just shoot the crap
It's a
and just
blast. It's
like
a great
talk about
show.
stuff.
It's a
Yeah, I
really
think we don't like, as you see, like we don't really do our topics to like hit the algorithm. That's why our channel is still really small. It's 100,000 something, right? Like we're not trying to be like the next big YouTuber. We're just having we've always done our show just to have fun together on YouTube. When we were during the pandemic, we did it as a way to hang out every day, you know, digitally.
yeah.
So like we're just doing it for fun and just to share our thoughts with the world. And honestly, most of my investments these days come from my community. So they help me surface stuff. So I get more out of our community at Dumb Money than they get from me, I think. You know, we have a Discord where we chat about stuff. It's like all free. We don't sell stuff. Like I don't make one. I lose so much money on YouTube because we pay for editors, like for our short clips. Like we don't make money off of our community, but yet I make so much money off my community because you know, every couple months they surface a trade for me. I'm like, damn, I would have been late to that if not for you
Right.
guys.
Right.
So anyway, thank you for the work you're doing on Palantir. Appreciate it. Keep doing it.
I love it, Chris. Means so much. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next
Thanks,
time.
guys.
Thank you so
All right.
much. Bye.
Later.